everybody, my name's Carrie. Thank you so much for being here. Today is May 25th, 2021. It's a Tuesday. Weather's looking pretty decent. It's been super rainy lately, but it's pretty decent today. And I thought I'd hop on and share with you kind of what's going on, what I'm working on. This episode will be pretty heavy on quilting and fabric. I have done some ice dyeing. I've started a quilt. I've got a new quilt I'm going to start. And so most of what I'm going to show you is going to be about that. So, things have been going fairly okay. We had been working on a new deck for my parents, and Jim sawed his finger. So he sawed the top part of his middle finger on his left hand. So he is doing things one-handed right now. He didn't saw the tip off. So far, it looks like they're going to be able to save it. It's just going to be a long time of wound care. He did saw part of the bone. The bone that's left is broken, so they're treating it as an open fracture. And he goes to the doctor today to start doing the wound care stuff, which is going to be kind of icky. So that slowed things down. It's been a little stressful, but he's doing pretty well. And thankfully it's on his non-dominant hand. And it sucks. It still really sucks. And it was very scary and gross. And it's like really gross. But he's got a pretty good attitude and doing okay. But the whole deck thing kind of got on a standstill after that. This weekend is supposed to be nice, so we may go and start doing it. I told him, I said, you are now the foreman and you just get to tell us what we need to do. Robert, our son, helped and was learning how to use the tools and was doing a great job. So I think we can get it done. He just can't do a whole lot right now. So I want to get the deck done so that it's just done and it's off of his shoulders. But I'm hoping not, because I really would like to have the weekend to work on some quilts that I got going here. So we'll see what happens. But I have been busy dyeing. I've been dyeing some fabric with ice dyeing technique. I have talked about that in the past. My idea was to do like a rainbow. I wanted to try and get a rainbow of colors. Using the Roy G. Biv. So you've got the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. That's what I was aiming for. Sometimes I got it, sometimes I didn't, but it was really a lot of fun. With ice dyeing, you don't know what you're going to get exactly, and so it's always kind of a surprise. I did take some video. I don't know if it turned out. If it did turn out, I'll insert it so that you can see what the process is. So hopefully I'm inserting it here. Okay, I'm getting ready to ice dye some fabric, and I thought I would show you what I do. This is white prepared for dyeing fabric, PFD fabric, that I cut in a 1/2 yard length. I did a zigzag stitch along the edge to keep it from fraying. This has been soaking in a soda ash solution. I got these pans at the dollar store and I poked some holes on the bottom. This is a lasagna pan with a rack that I use just for dyeing. And the reason why I use this is because it can help hold the ice from just falling off. So I just take and kind of scrunch it in no particular fashion, just trying to get texture. And I'll scrunch it up. And today I want to try and get a violet color, so I'm going to use, these are Dharma Trading fiber reactive dyes. This is grape. I've got lavender and amethyst, and so I'm going to try and get a violet color. So then what I'm going to do is cover this with ice, and my ice maker finally filled up enough that I can put ice on this. So the goal is to cover all the fabric so that it's all covered up with ice. And then I will put the dye over the top. And as the ice melts, it will dissolve the dye because the dye is in powder form. And hopefully the colors blend nicely, which they usually do, and give me some interesting textures. So I'm going to put my mask on and we're going to go for it. I'm going to start with lavender because I figure I'd start with the lightest color first. And I just will sprinkle it all over. And then I think I'll do amethyst. And then I'll do grape. I try not to do more than I need, and it's hard to know how much that I need because then you just rinse it out. It ends up just getting washed down the drain. So I want to make sure the edges of the fabric have color. And I think that's good. So that will sit until tomorrow. So this will slowly melt. The thing that was nice about these pans is they came with a lid. So then I just put a lid on it and let it just melt. And the water will end up down in the pan. And fingers crossed we get something pretty here. So what I got out of the ice dyeing was some really beautiful fabrics, and I wanted to share them with you. So I was trying, like, this was my attempt at orange. It turned out gorgeous, but it's more of a coral color. It wasn't turning out as red as I wanted, but it is beautiful. And it was interesting because can you see where they've got these purples? I was trying to get like an indigo. So I sprinkled some black on it thinking that would kind of darken things, and the black turned purple. And so it's just the way the dyes break down. So usually when you dye fabric or yarn, you dissolve the powder, super fine powder, dissolve it in hot water, and black is made up of all colors, so it just gets dissolved and turns black. But when you don't dissolve it and you're just using the powder themselves, then those little particles of the different colors separate. And so you get interesting effects like purple, and I didn't put purple on this one. But, beautiful. It's a sky blue one. This is a beautiful, got kind of a lavender print out of it. They almost look similar to like a batik, but they're not. It's just a cotton fabric. I got a PFD fabric. I talked about this on the last episode, which is prepared for dyeing, means it doesn't have any coating or starch or sizing or anything on it, so that the dye can actually penetrate the fibers. If you can dye things that aren't PFD fabric, but you need to wash them in hot water to get all those chemicals and things off the fabric so that it will accept the dye. So skipping that step by buying fabric that's already prepared for dyeing. So got some just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. I was getting a lot of pinks because my reds turned pink, and my attempt to get red kept turning out pink. But I got some really interesting colors from it. So there's never a bad color. I tried to do, multiple different colors, so I got like a variation. This, I actually used primary colors. So I used red, yellow, and blue. The blue completely disappeared, didn't do anything. And I've got like a pinky red and yellow with a little bit of orange. I don't know where the blue went. there's a little spot right there. But I had blue sprinkled all over the whole thing. It just didn't do anything. I was really struggling trying to get a red and trying to get an orange. So I thought, okay, that maybe I can't get that with ice dyeing because of the way those particles are breaking apart. I need to just make a red, make an orange. I have this book, which is, if you're ever interested in doing any kind of dyeing of fabric, this is a fantastic book. This is by Linda Johansson. It has recipes for all kinds of colors. So you pick a color you want and it tells you how much of whatever colors to make that particular secondary color. So using that, I did finally get a red. It's going to be more of a tonal as opposed to getting that more like textured look. And this did turn out to be more of an orange yellow, or orange red. If I were to do it again, I probably would have backed off some of the yellow, but it's a beautiful color and it's fine for what I'm going to use it for. This is a beautiful orange, yellowy orange that I got. And that was from mixing up dye and just sticking it in the dye water and letting it soak overnight. And then I got those colors rather than sprinkling the dye powder over ice. I wanted to try and get a lighter yellowish color because I'm making a quilt that has flower centers and I wanted all the centers to be kind of this yellowish color. So this has got variations in it. The last two that I did trying to get, I don't know, I think I was trying to get a indigo and a violet or something. Well, when the ice goes through the fabric, it dissolves the dye. That all goes down into the pan that the rack is sitting in. Well, I had this beautiful purple dye water, and I thought, I can't just throw that away. I'm going to see if I can dye something with it. So I did, and I got this beautiful purple fabric with lots of texture in it because of the way I scrunched it up or twisted it or whatever I did with it. So I got a beautiful purple. The other pan had this like electric blue, and oh, that is really pretty. I'm going to put some fabric in there, but it came out like a muted teal. So very interesting. The water was very electric blue and it turned out more of a teal color, which is still pretty, and I'm still going to use it. So the pattern that I had been dying to make it, I was dyeing the fabric for, is, I don't have the pattern right here, but it's called Pressed Flowers, and it's by Pen and Paper Designs. I'll put a link to her shop or anything that I talk about down in the description box below. So here is that light blue. This is this fabric, is this flower. So the pattern is all these daisies. All of the flowers that I'm making are gonna have this yellow center, so that'll tie them all together. This is a Kona Solid in Pepper, which is a really dark charcoal gray. It's not quite black, it is more gray, which I thought would set off these brighter colors really nicely. And I've got an orange one done. And I was just having a lot of fun. This past weekend, I went away with a few friends and we rented a little place on the beach and did our little quilt retreat. We had 4 of us, and it was just really lovely. And this flower quilt is what I worked on. So I got those 3 blocks completed, and I've got all the parts for the rest of the flowers. And so here's the next. This is kind of basically how it goes together. You make these units here, and then so you have like a bunch of these, you put the center flower or the center square into it, put it all together, and you have a flower. Then I'll add some sashing so that the flowers are staggered. And it's really, it would be a good beginner quilt. It's really not that difficult. There's just a lot of little pieces to it. I am doing the lap size, so there's 25 flowers. And I'm doing 2 of each of the colors, and then I think there's one that's going to have 3. I cannot remember what I did, or I think everything's got 2, and then there's an additional color that's just got 1, or some, I forget what I did, but I've got all of these pieces for each flower sewn. That's as far as I got, because you make this section here bigger, trim it down. She's got pretty good instructions on how to do it. She worded things a little weird, but being that I knew what I was doing, and it would be fine. A beginner could do it. And they have, she's got it for a baby size quilt or a lap quilt. So I even thought this would be really pretty to do maybe 3 or 5 of these, just these, and make like a table runner for spring. Thought that would be really neat. I think this would be really cute as a bag. I mean, there's a lot of really neat things you could do with this flower. I think it's just kind of cool. It's a pretty popular pattern. So I'm going to get this done before I start my next quilt. I'm more than likely, hopefully, because there's a quilt along I'm joining that I will tell you about next. You guys know how I feel about Fiber Hustle. Aaron and Chip are fabulous. Aaron knits. He's doing a knit along, which I'll talk about in a second. And Chip is going to do a quilt along with the quilt kind of leading up to Pride Week. Now, I'm not going to get this quilt done by Pride. It's only a few weeks away, and there's no way in heck I can get it done that quickly because I have to still get the fabric cut and everything like that. But it is the Alaska Rainbow Quilt by Laundry Basket Quilts. Edita Sitar is the designer. Mine is with these fabrics. The fabrics will get here in a couple of days. It takes templates. I did buy the pattern. I thought the pattern came with templates. I didn't realize those were separate. But Jim's going to the plastic place and having them made for me. So I will have templates. I got to get it all cut out. But it is, I haven't started making it, but just looking at it, and in my experience, it's not a beginner's quilt pattern just because of the bias edges and all the strange shapes that you're doing. But if you are a confident beginner and you've made a couple quilts, you've got a couple quilts under your belt, you understand the accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance and how to press properly without stretching things out, you can do it just taking your time. I am going to heavily starch my fabric. That will help because you've got a lot of bias edges in here. And if I heavily starch it when I press my fabric initially, that helps to keep it from stretching out of shape. A little bit more pressing very carefully when you're piecing it will help because with the bias edges, things can get out of shape pretty easily. So this quilt along starts June 1st. I highly suggest you go to Fiber Hustle's last episode where they talk about it and give you the details. You can get information off of their Instagram. They do have a Facebook page. There's a Ravelry page for the knit along. There's not something for the quilt along because we don't really have that in the quilting world that I know of. But Chip will be super helpful to guide you on anything. I will put the link of where I got the pattern. I got it from Laundry Basket Quilts' website. And it would be fun. It would be fun if you joined. They have options of getting pre-cut, which is a good way to go. All of these fabrics, but they've cut them out for you, probably laser cut. This quilt back here was pre-cut with laser quilt, and I have to tell you, it was really nice to just be able to just jump right in and start making it, not have to fuss with cutting it out. I will be cutting it out, and that's okay. It just takes a little bit longer to do stuff. So yeah, makes like a 70-inch quilt, 71-inch square quilt. It's gorgeous. Chip had talked about this a couple of episodes ago, and I looked it up at the time, and I thought, oh, do I have time to do that? And I was like, no. And I'm like, okay, I gotta join. I gotta support my friend and make a gorgeous quilt in the process. So that will go from June 1st to August 8th. They explain why on their most current episode on their YouTube channel. Just look up Fiber Hustle. You won't be sorry. There's a lot there. They're funny and they're kind and they're just good people. So that's been happening with my sewing and quilting. And that, if you know, that takes time. Getting my flower quilt cut out, that took some time because I would work on it. And if I get too tired, which is pretty much what happens to me every afternoon, I know I'll make mistakes and I have to just stop and not do it. So it took a little bit of time, but then it's going together really smoothly. So I plan on working on that flower quilt a little bit more until that gets, I'd like to get the top at least put together before I start the rainbow quilt, but that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard not to start on June 1st with everybody. They have a link to a Zoom get together for anybody that is doing it. So if you need some help, I am happy to help you. They've got a couple of other people that are helping sponsor their quilt along. So you've got Curly Seams, you've got Tracy and Emma, who are both experienced quilters that are there to help. Stuart from Wool Patch is a fairly new quilter, so he's going to join in the journey. I know of a couple other people that are fairly newish quilters. So we're here to help if we can, and it's just going to be kind of fun to do it all together with everybody. So I hope that you look into it and possibly join us. The little bit of knitting I have done, like I said, we were working on deck stuff, and then with Jim's hand, there hasn't been a lot of knitting. It's just been really tiring, but I have gotten some things done. So I did with my knitting machine. I have a Flatbed Brother knitting machine that I have a ribber on that I can knit in the round, and I made some socks. This is yarn that I got from the Yarn Enabler, and I don't think she's dyeing anymore. She is the dyer behind the pencil socks, if you know who that is. I bought this several years ago. This was like Sugar Skull or something. I think it was Sugar Skull. And it came with the self-striping with the black mini. I chose to use the self-striping on the heel and then the black on the toe and the cuff. I decreased on this one to 16 stitches instead of going down any further, and it made a nice wider seam at the toe. My feet, my feet are wide, and that helps with that. So I can finally put these in my rotation, although now we're getting to be not really sock weather because it's getting almost to be summer. But these were fun. These were really fun. The Yarn Enabler, she doesn't have anything in her shop and hasn't for a while, so I'm guessing that she just isn't dyeing anymore. So I'm not going to link anything, but I hope everything's okay with her because I hate for bad things to happen to people. So Erin of the Fiber Hustle is doing a knit along for the Stephen West pattern Vertices Unite. I don't know. It's something like that. The pattern's here. And he and anybody else that I hear that has made it has really enjoyed the process of making it. And of course I have to support my buddy, and I'm going to make it. I thought, I've just like quilts, the knitting, it's like I have plenty of quilts. I've given everybody in my family quilts. Everybody's got one. I personally don't need any more, but I like the process of making it. It's part of just being creative and expressing my creativity. So whether I use it or not, I figure is beside the point at this stage of my life because I still need to create, and so I still knit things and I still make quilts, even though I don't need either. I don't need a shawl, but I'm going to make it. Plus, there's the whole FOMO, fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out on anything ever. I want to be part of it. So I gathered my yarns. It takes 5 different skeins of yarn. On the pattern, it is a paid-for pattern that I got through Ravelry. Link it below. Stephen West has given a schematic of you have A through E, of your yarns. And so like A and C at some point go together, and B and D at some point go together. So I was using that, like, do these two go together, and that one goes together, and this one's by itself. I've come up with a color scheme. And so this is in order from A to E, and this is what I've got. So this is yarn that I was given by Christy, and it is from 6 and 7 fiber, and it is Curio. So it's just what I would consider a neutral, but yet it has the colors that I'm going to use. This is my Dog Star Knits yarn. That is Akana. I don't know what that means, but that's what it is. So at some point, these two go together, and at some point, these two go together or something. It doesn't matter because they all kind of go together. So this is just a very pale pink. That was something I dyed. This is some from my dyeing. This was Cherry Blossom. And then the one that doesn't go with anything else is going to be my Natty Bow. What was this? Blue, Moody Blues. So this is going to be by itself because I really wanted this to just be by standalone, and so I can see it. And it goes with everything. So these are my colors, and this is very me. And yes, Erin, I think I look like a My Little Pony. Whatever. Makes me happy. So I'm going to wind these up. That starts June 1st as well. And that'll be good because I do the quilting stuff or sewing. I'll do that during the day. I might come up here in the evening, but not so much anymore because by evening I'm done. I'm just done. But I can sit and knit. And the shawl does take some concentration because there's the different shapes that you're picking up stitches and stuff. But for the most part, it's just garter, which is perfect. So I'm excited to get that started. If you're interested in starting that, there is a Fiber Hustle Ravelry page that got started for this knit along. Check that out. Get the pattern. I pulled all these out of my stash. I don't have like a big stash. And so I'm sure you've got 5 different skeins that go together. Some of the skeins, you don't need a whole skein. So maybe you've got something left over from another project that you can use in it and pull together. There's only a couple skeins that use almost a full. So like this one will use almost a full. And I'm not sure what the other one, I can't remember which other letter used a full skein. So that'll be good. And these two have some sparkle in it, so that'll add a little extra zippity doo-dah. So that's it. That's my little check-in here. Just a lot of playing with color, which is super fun. So like I said, go to Fiber Hustle in the different areas, links below, and I hope that you join us and at least join me and join them, and it'll be fun. Be fun. So thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry this is quick, but I'm gonna try and document and maybe do some quick little more like vlog style posts or videos with my progress with the quilt and stuff, to just they may just be little 10-minute somethings, but I think I might try and do that a little bit if I just leave my recording stuff up. And yeah, I'll see how it goes, but I definitely will be sharing it. I was sharing my ice dyed fabric every day, and everybody's so sweet, and they're like, no, we want to see it, but I'm like, are you sick of seeing this? And then it just got too hard to take pictures and whatever. So my ice dye stuff's put away for now. I'm not dyeing anything for a little bit. I've got plenty here to keep me busy, and but you know, never know what's going to come up. So hang in there, doing what you're doing. I hope everybody's still healthy. And Memorial Weekend is coming up this weekend, so we get a 3-day weekend. It's going to be hot here. We're going to go from like 60-degree weather to 85 like in a day. So that's super fun. So I will catch you guys later. I'm done rambling. I will see you next time. Bye.